In the Old Testament, the idea was that the blessing of God comes in your family. It comes in the biological procreation, so having a family, having a wife, a husband, and having children was the major way how God blessed the people. So there was not much room for singleness. The idea of legacy, of inheritance was connected to biology a lot. But we already in the Old Testament we see some figures like the prophet Daniel, or maybe Jeremiah, or there's this idea or speaking about eunuchs who actually are picked up as the primordial or ideal, blessed, well, that probably is not a good word, eunuchs as the typical person that is used by God for a special blessing, which is very unusual, and to the hearers of the Old Testament, and in the Old Testament times, it must have been very surprising that somebody like a eunuch, a person who cannot have children, a person who is usually seen to not be a proper part of the society, someone who is looked down on, someone who is not able to have this usual typical blessing of family, is seen as somebody who is going to be blessed by God in a special way. So we see that already in the Old Testament, God somehow works on a different plane than only the biological, and that opens up for the idea of singleness that the New Testament picks up later, but it would not be generally that much thought of as a viable way of life in general. So it was, in the Old Testament, it was something special. Sometimes it was picked up or pointed out as a way that God can bless very deeply, but it would not be commended as a usual way of life.